Sometimes I'm thinking of how to do a video and what I want to do a video about, and it's something just slaps you right in the face, and you're like, whoa, that's a very good, interesting thing. And now that I put more time and effort into my videos, I think I can more and better convey exactly sort of one of the reasons why I fell out of dismay with the Xbox brand and Phil Spencer in general. It's probably not what some of you have heard. And again, I don't hate Xbox. I still play on Xbox. I want them to give me a reason to buy an Xbox Series X. The problem is they're very counterproductive when they speak and when they give interviews. And realistically, some of the things that they say, it directly contradicts something that they said not too much earlier than that. So it's very weird, and I'm very much looking forward to doing this video. It's something that I've been wanting to cover for a while, and the story just kind of broke, so I thought a great time to actually do that and cover it. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel. The best way you can support me as a content creator is just by liking the videos. If you really want to support me, hit the bell so you're notified of everything as soon as it drops. That would be pretty incredible and much, much appreciated. Thank you. So, again, Phil Spencer, I don't have a problem with Phil Spencer. I think that Phil Spencer wants to be liked by everybody, right? He sort of comes across as a guy that really wants to be liked by everybody. A lot of people respect the guy. And he seems like a good guy. The problem is he doesn't seem like a good, businessman for a person who has a console that he should be trying to sell to people, right? At every turn, he almost kind of deflates the whole idea behind the console, right? And so what I mean by that is, just some of the things that he says, some of the things that he does. It's just one of those things that really kind of blows your mind when you kind of look at it and you go, what's really going on here, right? And to kind of clarify what I'm talking about, just to make it clear. So Phil Spencer, he did this big speech, right? And he says PS5 style next gen exclusives are counter, quote, to what gaming is about. Basically, so Microsoft is limiting their developers. Well, he's also saying that, by the way, he's saying strictly that, hey, it's not really holding back anybody by our games aren't being held back by the Xbox One. So this is a very interesting stuff, right? Next gen exclusives, are they necessary to push the industry forward? I think they are. Sony says yes. The PlayStation 5 is going to use exclusives to get people to switch over. Microsoft says no. Promised all first-party Xbox Series X games will also come out on Xbox One for at least a year. Microsoft limiting their developers by forcing them to support the Xbox One? In a new interview with Game Industry Biz, Phil Spencer rejects that idea that the Xbox Series X will be in any way held back, and this is what he said. Frankly, held back is a meme that gets created by people who are too caught up in a device competition. The diversity of hardware choice in PC has not held back the highest fidelity PC games on the market. The highest fidelity PC's games rival anything that anybody has ever seen in video games. So this idea that developers don't know how to build games or game engines or ecosystems that work across a set of hardware, there's a proof point in PC that shows that's not the case. Later in the interview, he says, as a player, you are the center of our strategy. Our device is not the center of our strategy. Our game is not the center of the strategy. We want to enable you to play the games you want to play with the friends you want to play with on any device. Gaming is about entertainment and community and diversion and learning new stories and new perspectives. And I find it completely counter to what gaming is about to say that part of that is to lock people away from being able to experience those games or to force someone to buy my device on that day that I want them to go and buy it. Order and partake in what gaming is all about. In order to partake what gaming is about, excuse me. So I find this to be kind of humorous for a couple of reasons. He's saying games aren't held back on Xbox Series X because of the Xbox One, but I can produce multiple developers, including one from the game Scorn, and that's going to be an Xbox Series X exclusive, mind you, right? That basically 100% says, hey, we're doing Xbox Series X only because Xbox One would have held back our vision. So again, which one is it? That's the thing that you have to kind of look at as what's really going on here. What's the real deal? What's going on with what Phil Spencer's saying now and what the truth is? Because their own developer from Obsidian Entertainment even said they had to cut back on things that they were doing for Outer Worlds because the old hardware couldn't handle it. So if developers are saying old hardware can't handle it, then what does that mean, right? Does that mean that Phil's lying here? That's the big question I have. So the medium, the game, It says, somebody asked if the game, the Medium, was an exclusive or it was going to be on Xbox One, and they responded was, no, it's an Xbox Series X console exclusive. The gameplay mechanics we're creating for the Medium can be fully realized only on a next-gen hardware. The game simply couldn't work the same way on current-gen platforms. So there's that point of contention. Also, where he says he doesn't believe in, that he says generation exclusives are completely counter to what game is about, right? He says that. But then in 2014, he says quite the opposite, and I have that quote for you here. He says the Xbox One, this was right before when the Xbox One was launching. He says the Xbox One isn't backwards compatible to the Xbox 360, but a game like Halo 4 seems like it could have life on the Xbox One. Spencer said that doing a port wasn't something he wanted for launch. I want launch to be about new things that are taking full advantage of the hardware, especially as a first party. Any kind of strategy with the back catalog was something I thought we would think about later. So 2013, he's like, we only want to focus on the new stuff and the new hardware. And then you fast forward, and now it's all about, games not doing, that. Again, he says gaming is entertainment, and I get that. But at the same time, how can you launch the Xbox One and say, hey, we want to show off the power and this great machine and let people know, hey, this is why you should upgrade. And then years later, you just go, well, we don't really care if you upgrade. It doesn't really matter. We don't think that it's right. I personally think that they go too far in trying to be consumer friendly, and a lot of the things that they do. Listen, Phil Spencer, I bought into this for a long time, right? And let me be clear. I want Xbox to succeed, right? Yes, I've had my fair share of fallouts with the Xbox executives and stuff like that, and people think I'm quote-unquote salty or whatever. But literally every single year, Phil Spencer has promised the best Xbox E3 ever, the biggest lineup, the most games, more exclusives, and every year pretty much has been kind of a letdown, and some years worse than others, of course. But the fact of the matter is that, 1 month he'll be saying, gamers don't care about 60 frames, and then now all of a sudden, he said gamers don't care about 60 frames per second, right, when he was trying to sell us an Xbox One X. Now he's trying to sell us a Series X, and suddenly 60 frames and higher is all the talk, right? So what changed in that 3 years? Well, one console wasn't doing 60 frames, one is, okay? So whatever changes he makes in his opinion realistically comes with whatever he's trying to sell us, right? It's a business. So he says before, he's not going to announce games that are years away, right? He said that multiple times. I think we all know that. Then at the same time, now he's announcing games that are years and years away, right? They showed off Everwild last year, and that game is probably 3 to 4 years away. Okay, they showed off Hellblade, which probably isn't launching until late 2022 or 2023. So, 3-4 years away. So, at what point did some of this stuff change? Like, that's the question that I have. Like, at what point did some of this stuff change? And is it really fair to the consumers that there's so much back and forth? Listen, I know somebody can shove some of the stuff that I've done right back in my face, right? I reviewed Halo 5 exceedingly well. But, like I try to point out to people, reviews are taken at a particular point in time. Go back and play Halo 5 now, and you start to see, it wasn't great. And if you go back and look at it, the multiplayer was kind of bare bones at launch and stuff like that. You've got to take a look at things of how they were at that time. All these years later, like, I really liked Rise Son of Rome at launch, and I reviewed it pretty well. The problem is, if you go back to it now, it wouldn't get the same score that it got then, is kind of my point. Okay, you go back and you play stuff and you get nostalgic or whatever, and you just kind of say, that wasn't really as good as I remember. And I think that's something that really has come across multiple times over the generations, is that, hey, Phil Spencer sounds almost like he's pre-damage controlling the fact that Xbox is going to lose another generation, and that, that they think it's fine that they do that because they're really focusing on this, or this. Basically, what it comes down to is, in my opinion, anyway, they know they can't compete with Sony in terms of consoles sold. The PlayStation 5 is just going to outsell everything, right? It's going to do huge numbers. Microsoft knows this, right? They know that, like, consumer confidence is low with Xbox, especially given this past generation. Microsoft really has to change everything around. The problem is, we're getting this long list of Phil Spencer saying one thing and the exact opposite thing. Like, that stuff is starting to pile up in his corner, and then at what point are people going to stop trusting him? I mean, people go, but Phil Spencer said, and I'm like, but Phil Spencer said this, and then also said this. They're like, Phil Spencer said Xbox is going to come out with more consoles still. Well, Phil Spencer also said people didn't care about 60 frames. Phil Spencer said this is going to be a great show. Well, he also said that 6-7 other years. Phil Spencer said that, it's wrong to have exclusives specific to a new generation. Well, Phil Spencer also said the exact opposite when they launched the Xbox One. So which Phil Spencer is it? Like, that's my question. That's the thing that really kind of bugs me after all these years. It's just like one of those things where we keep seeing, one thing said and then the other. And I just kind of boggles my mind that we're still seeing this after all this time, like, dang, Phil, which one is it? I just would like to know. I get it. We all can change our mind. We all can say it can change what we think. But not everybody is the head of Xbox and changes their minds within a same generation about multiple things the way that Phil Spencer has. It's very confusing. And it, like, where do you stand? Like, sure, Phil Spencer says Xbox is here to stay, and, but tomorrow it might not be. And then, that's exactly kind of my point. You know what I mean? So Phil Spencer really needs to kind of get the act together a bit, in my opinion, and, give people kind of flat answers to some of this stuff. I would love your guys' thoughts and opinions on this. Where do you stand? Or do you think Phil Spencer's a little bit confusing with the back and forth sort of thing that he does? Or do you think it's something like, forgivable, or just, learning on the job? I would love your guys' thoughts and opinions on this. Please let me know down below. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. He's basically, in my opinion, saying Sony already won. It's all over, So I would love your thoughts and opinions. Let me know. Rack 'em up. Have a fantastic day. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. Game on. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.